Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. It's just that I have a lot going on. So around this time of year anyway, I have a lot going on. So you may not see too many videos as you used to until things start to calm down a bit. So anyway, I have another comic book haul for you. I got quite a few books here. Some upgrades, some new books. Books I was able to get cheap, both an upgrade or new books added to the collection. So I guess we'll start it. I guess we'll start. I will say this though, for those of you that have been watching things when it comes to comic book prices, man, things have been dropping. So that should be, as I've noticed, as I've been watching some key books, big books, blue chip books from the summer to now. Now is the day before Thanksgiving, so I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. But man, you see the prices dropping, and then there are some sellers that are still trying to get the 2021 prices, and it's just not happening, or at least most of the time from what I've seen. So what I'm trying to say is it's worth being patient. It's worth being patient to get those books that you want to get those upgrades. It's worth being patient. So, with that being said, let's get started. Let me get a bunch of these books in my lap. Ugh. All right. So here we have this. I got this very cheap. Ultimate Marvel Team Up number 5. This is the first appearance of the Samuel L. Jackson version of Nick Fury. That's the only version that I really think about when I think of Nick Fury. Now, I know a lot of people that have been collecting since, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s still think of Nick Fury as the one that was introduced in the 60s. But I have a hard time thinking of Nick Fury and not thinking of Samuel L. Jackson or the look of Samuel L. Jackson with the leather and the bald head. It's just, I think, a far cooler version of that character because, let's be honest, Nick Fury, who gives a shit about Nick Fury before the movies, I really think, unless you were a diehard Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan or whatever. So anyway, here we have all new Ghost Rider number 1. This is the first appearance of one of the new Ghost Riders. I forget his name off the top of my head. I've been really bad with names as of late. And I almost forgot this one too. This great one, Ghost Rider number 1. This is the first appearance of the Carter Slade Ghost Rider. I almost forgot his name. Again, I forget what his name is. Maybe you could correct me and put it in the comments. Well, actually, no, you don't have to put it in the comments because when I go back and edit this video, I'll put it in the little bar over here, what his name is. So, but yeah, I was glad I was able to get this. This is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And again, I got it for, this is a nice maybe 5.5 copy, so it's not super high grade, but it's not low grade either. I think a copy like this over a year ago was selling for a lot more, almost double than what I paid. So again, going back to what I said when this video started, if prices have been going down. Here I got a bunch of Bronze Age horrors here. We're going to start off with this one. This was one that I've been trying to get for a while. Giant Size Chiller is number 1. The first appearance of Lilith. Pretty cool, right? Now, as you know, I've been working on runs. I finished my Vault of Horror run. I finished my Haunt of Fear run. So I've been working on these things a lot. Now I'm trying to finish my Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing run. Okay? Which is not that hard to do. It's when it comes to trying to compare it to trying to finish an EC comic run. But let's take a look at some of these. These are all nice high grade copies. I try to get nice high grades for all these, and I think I've been successful. And it's nice to have those high grade books with covers by Bernie Wrightson. So we'll start off with this one. Now I have numbers 1 and 2. When I complete this run, I'll show the entire collection. But we'll start off with this one. Swamp Thing number 4. Very nice. Swamp Thing number 5. Very cool. Swamp Thing number 6. Classic robot cover, right? Yeah, beautiful. Swamp Thing number 7. I've owned several copies of this over the years. I sold them. And then I just brought it back into the collection when I said, that's a classic cover and I want to finish my Swamp Thing collection. This is a cool cover too. Swamp Thing number 8. This is a classic cover and this is a nice high grade copy too. Swamp Thing number 9. I mean, they're all high grade, but this one's higher. Swamp Thing number 10. Yeah, I told you I've been busy. I've been working on Swamp Thing. This is a really cool cover. I like the colors. I like the look. It's creepy as hell. Swamp Thing number 11. This is a really neat cover with the colors, the reds and the blacks and the greens, how they all go together so wonderfully. Swamp Thing number 12. And the fact it's a nice high-grade copy, it helps. Here's another nice high-grade. Swamp Thing number 13. Swamp Thing number 14. This almost seems like it's a Swamp Thing completion video, right? But no, it's not. This is a cool cover. Devil cover. What is it, number 15, right? Swamp Thing number 15. Swamp Thing number 16. And that's where we break the consecutive issues. Then we jump to Swamp Thing number 21. So I do need Swamp Thing number 3 and the others that I didn't show. So I'm really happy I've been able to work on that and get some pretty nice books. I wound up buying this again. I thought I didn't have it, but this is actually my second copy of House of Secrets number 90, a classic Neil Adams cover from this run. It's very similar to his Witching Hour number 14. Now I have a few House of Mysteries, more than a few House of Mysteries here. Here's a nice one, a nice gray tone cover, number 92. This one I absolutely love. And this is definitely one I could see myself buying multiple copies of. It's not that expensive, so I've managed to find myself a nice 4.5 copy of House of Mystery number 93. Great cover, right? Then we jump almost 100 issues to House of Mystery number 187. Next issue with 188. And the last House of Mystery for this haul, number 206. This would have been more appropriate around Halloween, right? But still, any time of year is good to show a classic or a nice Bronze Age horror cover. And this is definitely one of them. Okay, moving on to the next set. This book right here, I think is a little underrated. And it's not really that much, and it's an upgrade for me. I was able to upgrade my Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 5, which isn't that hard to do. Pretty cool. It's a nice 6.0 cover, 6.0 copy. I think I had like a 3.0 copy. But it was just one of those books I never got around to upgrading, and I think it's underrated. I don't think that much attention goes to the origin, first appearance of Peter Parker's parents. Yeah. I mean, granted, when it's up against the Sinister Six, like Annual number 1, who cares? But still, not bad. This, I don't know if I showed this one in another haul. I don't remember. I don't think so. But here I have Amazing Spider-Man number 72. Great cover. I've been trying to get some of the Ramita covers. And this is definitely a good one, right? Nice. This I got pretty cheap. Now, then again, though, I don't know. Maybe this book does go for pretty cheap. I don't really know too much about it. I mean, other than it's a pretty, I think, a well-known Hercules cover. So here we have Journey into Mystery 124. I think personally this cover is better than his first appearance, which was Journey into Mystery Annual number 1. A lot going on in that cover. I really don't like covers, most of the time at least, that have a lot going on. As you know, I really don't like the Avengers Annual number 10. It's just not a very appealing cover, and there's so much going on. It's just too much. Although the Journey into Mystery Annual number 1 doesn't have that much going on when it compared to Avengers Annual number 10, I still don't like it that much. I think this is a better looking cover, especially with Hercules. One last thing I want to say about Hercules before I go on. I remember we Love and Thunder. He made his cameo at the end of the during the credits, mid-credits scene, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, "Huh. Am I supposed to be excited about seeing Hercules in a future movie?" I'm just like, again, just a lot of my displeasure with the Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe. It just seems like it has no direction. I mean, I think we know where it's going, but I think that the original Phase 1 had more direction than this one. I don't know. It seems like they're experimenting a lot, and I just don't know how well it's working. Maybe it's working for a lot of people, but it's certainly not working for me. I was able to upgrade this copy. I had a 4.0. I upgraded to a nice 5.5. Got to send it off for a press. X-Men number 15. Cool. This is another upgrade. I had a 4.0. Now I upgraded to a 6.5. This is a really stunning 6.5, but it's a 6.5 nonetheless. Oh, it might even be a 7 for all I know. X-Men number 40. First appearance of Frankenstein in the Marvel Universe. Frankenstein's monster, rather. Now, here's another example of what I was saying in the beginning of the video, how prices have dropped. Now, this is a 4.0 copy, so it's really no big deal. It's a nice-looking 4.0, but it has a tear on the back cover. Nothing missing, but a tear. That's why it gets a 4.0 and not higher. But I wanted this one for a while, but I just didn't want to pay what it was going for. I thought this is, the prices, I thought they were ridiculous. Here we have Fantastic Four number 33, the first appearance of Atuma. I know he showed up in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. But, it was a book that I think was going for like way too much money for a while, even in that grade and of course above. That's just like saying it was just crazy. But again, now, if you want to just add books to your collection, if you want to upgrade, now seems to be more of a buyer's market than a seller's market. Some sellers still don't want to believe that or accept that, but it's true for the most part. So if you want to try to go after those books that you've always wanted to get or just wanted to add to the collection but just didn't feel like spending that much or you couldn't afford that much, now you might want to revisit them because maybe you can get them. Maybe you don't mind spending this, or maybe now you can afford this. So here, I don't remember if I showed this in the last haul, so forgive me if I'm showing this again. I was finally able to bring this back to my collection. Marvel Preview. First appearance of Marvel Preview number 4. First appearance of Star-Lord. Remember, I sold my copy off to help pay for that Incredible Hulk I bought it was almost 5 years ago. Jeez, wow. Time has gone by so quickly. Where's the time gone? All right, this wouldn't be a video unless I showed you some ECs, right? Here, I recently picked up this one, Shock Suspense Stories number 15. This is, I believe, from the HBO show Season 2 for Crying Out Loud. There might be another one on there. If there's another one, of course, I'll put it in. When I edit this video, I'll put it in. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But it's a sought-out Shock book. I mean, there's quite a few covers from Shock Suspense Stories that are sought out. I mean, this is one of them, but I don't think it's one of the top-tier sought-out ones. But, the Strangulation cover is definitely one of them. And I think this is the Crying Out Loud, the cover story. Well, I managed to upgrade Haunt of Fear, number 5, is it right? Yeah, it's number 5. Upgraded to a nice 5.0 copy. I had a really low-grade copy, and I sold it. I managed to upgrade this to a nice 5.5 copy. Vault of Horror number 32. The censored cover. Originally they had a meat cleaver in his head, and I guess the censors were giving them shit. So they said, you got to get rid of that. And they just put this shining light now coming from his head. It's a very interesting Johnny Craig cover. I've always thought this one was more interesting because it doesn't look like your typical Johnny Craig cover. I mean, there's some semblance of Johnny Craig in here because, of course, he drew it. But it seems a little different. It doesn't seem like it has that same Johnny Craig flair. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it just seems a little different. Speaking of another upgrade, I upgraded my Vault of Horror number 14. Didn't take me that long for that. This is a 3.5 copy. I don't think I think I might have showed this. I think I showed this in the complete Vault run. I don't remember. But I was able to upgrade it. 3.5, not bad considering that, I had a 2.0. I'll take this any day over that. Another upgrade, everybody. Here we have a nice, in my view, in my estimate, a nice 6.0 copy of Vault of Horror number 19. I love this cover. I still have my number 5. I got my 5.0 copy of this. I'm probably going to sell it down the line. I don't know when. But yeah, really, really nice. Love this book. Love it. Love it. And here's another upgrade. My Haunt of Fear number 14, which is the origin of the Old Witch. It's a nice 4.0, I think it's actually a 4.5 copy. But here you go. Now, a couple other things here. I got a few slabs here for you. And then we're going to end. I got this on the cheap. And it's an upgrade. I have like a 6.0 copy, so I got an 8.5. It's not like a terribly high-grade book, but got it cheap. and it's certainly better than the copy I had, so I upgraded my first appearance of Taskmaster. Nice. Yeah, I've often thought about just cracking this thing out, but it looks really nice. I mean, it looks a little better than an 8.5. It looks maybe about a 9.0. Not that much better, but 8.5 is fine too, considering I've had 2 other copies of it. But like I said, my other one was a 6.0, and I think my other one was a 7.0. So this is the best one out of the 3 I had. So this is a recent purchase I made. I've always wanted this book. I just never got around to it because, again, I've always thought it was a little more money than I wanted to spend. And I'm not a fan. I have to say it. I'm not a fan of these big size books. So I don't know if that's giving you a hint. But it's a first appearance that I needed since I am an X-Men fan. And I think I'm going to have this thing re-slabbed, like in a different holder. So here we have Captain Britain number 8, the first appearance of Betsy Braddock before she becomes Psylocke in... I don't think she became Psylocke in New Mutants Annual number 2. I think that was her first American appearance, because this is a British release. And like I said, I hate the size of this thing. Even with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1, I absolutely despise the size of it. I just wish it was more, like standard comic book size, not like a magazine or a weird comic book shape. But whatever. But again, I've never had this. I've heard that these things are pretty cheap in quality, the paper. So, I guess I'm glad that I have it in a slab. But like I said, I'm going to get it reholdered. I don't like this slab that much. It's got the old slab where it's like, kind of it could peel off. It's just get rid of it. Get a nice shiny new one. But I'm glad I got the book. Very, very nice. Very nice. Finally able to add the first appearance of Betsy Braddock to my collection. And last, but certainly not least, as I start picking off my Amazing Spider-Man run. I have number 16, but I'm going to show that in the next haul. It's getting a press right now. But the other 2 I need, there's one that I have in my hand right now, and the other one's number 1. It's only a matter of time before I get Amazing Spider-Man number 1. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, that's a great example for some of you that are interested in those blue chip books that have been going down as of late. Even the fantasy's gone down. Some people may not be willing to sell it for a whole lot less. But Amazing Spider-Man number 1, I just saw today a price on a 3.5. So it's not a terribly high grade book. It was like $3,000 to $4,000 less than what it was going for over the summer, over a few month period. So is that a trend that's going to continue? I think so, to some extent. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man number 1, other than it being the second appearance of Spider-Man, and being a number 1 issue, which is a lot, doesn't have that much else going for it. It's not really, other than it being a number 1, which is always good, other than being the second appearance, which is nice, it doesn't really have too much else going. I mean, we've seen J. Jonah Jameson in the MCU. The Chameleon's going to be in the Kraven the Hunter movie, which I think is going to suck ass. Let's just be honest with each other. I've read some of the things that were said about it. It might change, I'll try to keep an open mind, but I think it's going to be terrible. A lot of those Fox films, unless the MCU is heavily involved in it, like the Spider-Man films, Sony films. Pardon me. Sony-owned property, like the Spider-Man and the Venom and all that stuff. Even though the MCU is involved in it, I think the MCU is heavily involved in Spider-Man movies, and they're pretty good. They feel like MCU films. Even though the others, like Morbius and Venom, they have a good feel to it, but they just don't feel like MCU. They do feel like they're separate, and they're just, I hate to say it, to each his own, but they're just not good. And for me to think that Kraven the Hunter is going to be any different, what was it they're saying? That Kraven the Hunter, he's protecting animals or something like that? Maybe I read it wrong. That's not Kraven the Hunter. I mean, it just sounds so stupid. He's a hunter, for God's sake. But whatever. I could, at this point, I couldn't care less. But anyway, here we have the second appearance of the Vulture. Amazing Spider-Man number 7. It took a while for me to get this one. Like I said, I have number 16. It's not 5.0, But I have number 16, so that'll probably be in the next haul video along with the upgrade that I'm planning to get. So you might have to wait a couple months for that. But this is not a bad copy. A nice sharp looking 5.0. I mean, it's got a crease over here, so I guess that takes away some of the visibility of it, as you can see. The desirability, visibility, all that stuff. But I love it. I think it's great. It took me a while to get this book, and I wasn't expecting to get a 5.0. I was thinking like, I'll probably get a 3.5 or something like that. But like I said, the prices have gone down. Maybe if I waited, I would have got it cheaper. Who knows, right? But prices have gone down. So if you get anything from this video other than seeing some books that you may like or you have or you want to get, if you get anything else from this video, I would say patience. Definitely some patience. Because it will pay off, I think. Especially where I think the economy is going. I don't really think the economy is going to make a rebound or bounce back where people have a whole lot of expendable income or, things of that nature to pour into comic books. It seemed like it was a perfect storm back in 2020. Also, COVID, I think, had a lot to do with it. People having this extra money from the stimulus checks, and they could finally get the games, the cards, and the comics that they always wanted. And probably still didn't think ahead what else to do with that money. But now I think it's starting to come down. I'm not saying it's a crash or anything. That's not what I'm saying, because I'm not an economist by any means. But I think everyone sort of sees what's been going on. So anyway, with that cheerful message, ending this video, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'll try to make another video soon. We'll see if I come up with a couple more discussion videos. If you have any ideas for discussions, I'll gladly talk about it. But I'm not going to do any more like, comparing what prices were 2 years ago to now, other than what I just said. I'm not going to do anything like that. Just don't feel like doing that stuff as much. So have a happy Thanksgiving and be safe. Take care.